continues to make the Epstein scandal bigger by talking because he's in it up to his eyeballs. He is absolutely going to town and saying he broke up with Jeffrey Epstein, not because he was a pedophile, but because he was stealing employees from Mar-a-Lago.
I is taking people from the spa. I didn't know that. And then when I heard about it, I told him, I said, listen, we don't want you taking our people, whether it was spa or not spa. I don't want him taking people. And he was fine. And then not too long after that, he did it again. And I said, out of here.
Mr. President, did one of those stolen, persons that include Virginia Jeffrey?
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people, yeah.
This tells me Mar-a-Lago was absolutely just the hub of Jeffrey Epstein going in and getting girls. And Trump knew about it. He says he didn't. He absolutely knew.
No, he said he did know. He said in an interview years ago that Jeffrey Epstein is a really good friend of mine. He likes the ladies a little on the young side. He's known about this for decades. And what pisses me off about the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing is, aside from the horrible abuse that thousands of young girls endured at the hands of Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, is that the Democrats did not keep this alive during the campaign because MAGA is the party of sexual deviance. Trump endorsed back in his Trump 1.0, a senator from Alabama that was a child molester. So everybody acting so surprised about all of this. Trump's been a sexual deviant who's wanted to screw his daughter for a long time. And it goes on record. He brags about seeing naked pageant girls, talks about how hot his daughter is and what a great piece of ass she has been up to his eyeballs with the Jeffrey Epstein thing. Why the Democrats are always trying to run around with like Liz Cheney and try to talk about, if your policy is you want to try to peel away people from the right to vote for you, you have to go knee deep into all of these conspiracy theories, which this isn't even a conspiracy theory. Donald Trump knew exactly what Jeffrey Epstein was doing. And I believe on Howard Stern, there's a video of Trump saying that his cutoff date for sleeping with girls is 12.
Right. He absolutely, this is zero shock to me. I have known he's in it up to his eyeballs from jump. The fact that Ghislaine Maxwell went to Mar-a-Lago to pick up girls, we knew that. Everybody knew that. But Trump, I find so offensive. They stole. He keeps using the word stole. So it's just, again, when he talks about farmers owning the people that work for them that are immigrants, it all goes back to he dehumanizes people. And now he's saying, oh, well, I got rid of Jeffrey Epstein in 2002. Well, the rolls of Mar-a-Lago tell a different story. So you see the Miami Herald saying Trump says Epstein was never a Mar-a-Lago member. He was. New book tells what got him exiled. And then you skip to Epstein, in fact, had been a member until October 2007. So for Trump to sit here and act like he didn't know what was going on is absolutely ridiculous. Why we have to continue every day to talk about it and not go and impeach this man is beyond me, because now Ghislaine Maxwell, she wants immunity. She wants her cases resolved so she can run into Congress and say it was everybody but Donald Trump. Believe me, not the evidence, even though I'm a proven liar. And then one thing I have to continue to talk about is the grift. Donald Trump is enriching himself every day to the tune of $1 billion a month. He's using taxpayer funds for his clubs. He is profiting off the presidency, and he's absolutely open about it.
Critics who say this was a promotional trip for you and your business, that it promoted you and your business personally. What do you say to that?
I haven't heard that, no. I haven't heard that. Did you get to see my drive in the first hole?
You hit it straight and pretty high, yeah.
Pretty long. It's pretty long. That's no Joe Biden, let me tell you. That's not Biden, right? That was a good drive.
This man is so gross. He's profiting off the president. Put up the next clip that we have, Kylie. Sources with direct knowledge of the matter tell Rolling Stone that one of the lessons Trump took away from his previous stint in the White House is that he was wrong to leave a ton of money on the table as president. The headline is, Trump thinks it was stupid not to cash in harder on his first term. He's making up for it. As the president mixes public service with personal profit, he's making the world safe for corruption. This man is walking corruption, and nobody is talking about it. Why are we not talking about this every day? You can buy Donald Trump, invest in his crypto scheme. You can buy Donald Trump, invest in his stupid Truth Social stock. This man is selling the presidency. Just ask Qatar. It's just crazy.
Well, the bell that has been rung here is going to take a very long time to be unrung, because right now the stock market's doing okay. But as these trade policy and all of this self-enrichment and the camera lens comes into focus as to how corrupt the United States of America is, our economy will follow suit. Corrupt governments don't have strong economies. Transparent, strong governments have strong economies. And now for our trading partners and allies, they know that 77 million Americans are fine with corruption. 77 million Americans are fine having a political party that embraces sexual deviance. They know that now. And to unring that bell is going to be incredibly difficult. And Donald Trump enriching himself should surprise no one. The problem is, Pumps, this is getting talked about. It's just normalized. It's worse. All of this is getting normalized. And if you get on teeny weeny section of social media, they think it's incredible that he's doing all of this, that he's so smart, that he's so Machiavellian, that he's such a major chess player, that he's able to make all this money. It is cheerleaded and applauded. That's the problem.
You're so right. And it's such an important segue into the right and the left different echo chambers. And that is why we use ground news at IHIP News, because ground news gives you factual information. It's like the Spotify of news, puts all the news together. For example, these headlines. On the left, judge rules Trump administration must fund Planned Parenthood, blocking part of the big, beautiful bill. On the right, they say the judge mandates Medicaid funding for all Planned Parenthood clinic. That's why ground news is so important.
Listener, I really like ground news because it tells you exactly who owns the source. It tells you a factuality meter. And I think we have so much agency about how we educate ourselves on the news. And you can see the normalization of a lot of these autocratic tendencies that are coming out of the administration. And you see how a large portion of the American public is getting primed to accept this and applaud this. That's why we want you to join us by going to groundnews.com/IHIP, and you can get 40% off the Ground News Vantage plan that Pumps and I use every single day. They're subscriber funded and female founded. By subscribing, you're not only getting a tool we all need today, you're also supporting our work. That's Ground, GROUND, news.com/IHIP. And Kylie has pinned that right below in the show notes.
That moves me right into my next point about, Stephen Colbert, an outright critic of Trump and CBS for the settlement, the appeasement that they did to Trump. He's been canceled. And Trump is now suing the Wall Street Journal because they had the balls to go after him. And less people are doing that. The FEC approved a merger with Paramount and CBS with a monitor. So now they're going to be monitoring that. So I was going to what did you think when you found out that they'd fired Stephen Colbert? And they say it's money, but it's because he's such a vocal critic.
This is all a part of an authoritarian play. They start going after comedians. They start going after critics of the authoritarian. But I think what's really important is that this is not penetrating quite into the manosphere as Trump wanted. You're seeing some pushback by Joe Rogan. And listen, I think Joe Rogan's the biggest piece of shit on the planet. But he is saying he thinks that this is a problem. And I want to point out that the manosphere that helped and enabled elect this nut job authoritarian felon sexual deviant Donald Trump, they choose when they want to have clarity on these issues. And some of them are smart enough to realize if they're going after Colbert, at some point they could come after me too, should, Trump die and somebody else get in power, et cetera, et cetera. And so I think that you're going to see more and more of this. But I think the power of the people, and if we could get a Democratic establishment to have moral clarity on all of these issues, and that extends into our complicit support of genocide in Palestine. If we can completely Bernie Sanders this thing and take it to the working class people and say, he's a titty baby, Donald Trump, because a comedian hurt his feelings. And so he's getting him fired. What a pussy. And then he is in bed with this corporation, and he's in bed with that corporation, and blah, blah, blah. You can make a case that I think extends beyond party lines. If you as a party say, we're done. We're done taking this money. We're going to form some PACs where if you're a corporation and you want to give money to us, you have to be pro-democracy. But what we're mainly looking for are grassroots donations. I think it would be a groundswell of support for the party that does that. But because you've got Hakeem Jeffries, Cory Booker, Chuck Schumer has not done a press conference in over a month. Over 1 month. The leader of the Senate in this fascist takeover of the United States of America hasn't been in front of the media in over 30 days. It is just unbelievable how much these senators and congressmen bend the knee in such a hoodwink kind of way that they think they're base, that they think we don't see what they're doing. It just, the Democratic Party has got to get rid of all of the special interests. Otherwise, you're no different than Donald Trump.
Well, and here's the thing with the leadership in the Democratic Party. Look at the difference in the Oversight Committee when you have someone, rest in peace. What was it, Jerry O'Connell? He was the leader. Nothing happened. We have Robert Garcia. We're issuing subpoenas. We're getting evidence. There is a difference. Seniority and establishment politics are not working with this regime. They just simply cannot.
I saw that in the news, and that's a big thing when you sit around and you think, oh, it's this person's turn. This person gets to do this now, instead of listening to your people. And here's the thing the Democratic Party has got to take a look at. Donald Trump ripped up the entire base. He moved them so far to the right because even though he's a nut and he lies nonstop, he does it with a passion that people felt like they could believe in him. And the Democratic Party still plays patty cake with corporations and AIPAC, and then come in front of the base who is far more educated on objective news and facts than the right wing is. And they try to bullshit us. But Robert Garcia is a prime example of exactly what happens when you put a fighter in there. And I love that he's doing that. But I mean, look at Chuck Schumer. What do we have going on there? Crickets.
Yeah, fucking nothing.
Crickets.
Yeah. So message is we've got to stay alert. We've got to resist. We've got to demand better leadership and accountability for this administration. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. We'll be back with more news.